Here we go. All right. Blair Richardson, activist, Calgary, Alberta, young adult cancer survivor. And thanks so much for joining us on the Big Cancer Hookup, dude. We are really glad to have you.
No worries. Thanks for having me, Geoff.
Yeah, we're pumped to have you and your story here to connect with us today on the show this year. Blair, you are a young guy and you were a younger guy when you got sick. Just tell us a little bit about Blair before he heard those words, "You have cancer."
Yeah, I was doing my Bachelor of Education at Mount Royal University in Calgary. It had just summer break had just kind of started, and I just finished my spring job and started a job at a summer camp as a summer camp counselor, which is a job that I absolutely love. I've done it for a long period of time, and I was just gearing up with a new camp, and we did week 1 of training, and I felt fine. I felt a little bit breathless and a little more tired than usual. And then the first week of camp, and again, starting to feel it a little bit more. And then that weekend I went home and just was so sick all weekend. And on Monday morning, I went to the doctor and he said, "You need to get to the ER right now." And that's kind of where my whole journey started.
Right. Yeah. And then from there, you go to the ER, you get some tests, and they find out that your blood is out of whack.
Yeah.
And then, from my experience, having had AML, a blood disorder like you, like it flows quickly from there.
Yeah.
Some of our brothers and sisters have struggled to get that diagnosis. Most of my buddies and yackers who have had the blood cancers, it's quick. Once they discover that they see on a blood test, it doesn't take long from there. So you move on from that. If you look back and you think about like who you were before and who you are now, is there one thing that you really think about as far as how you have changed as a person and as a young guy since cancer?
I think I just I think a lot of people say this is that they just accept life and try to live life to the fullest after cancer kind of thing. The reality of dying and not getting to experience things is a lot stronger now. And now I just try and do every little experience that I can, even if it's something not nice. Like on Boxing Day, I told my girlfriend I want to go shopping just so that I can like experience Boxing Day shopping, because I've never fully gone and done it before. And it was horrible, but it was the experience that I really wanted to get.
Yeah, I get it totally. Well, I mean, at least you get to have that experience, and you can appreciate the horribleness just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And you cross that off your list now, so you don't have to go back next year. Probably.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Blair, I know you're in this space where you're having treatment, at least in the expectations right now are for the rest of your life. So you're in this path of a consistent hit of chemo and then a period of recovery and then back for more chemo.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you can tell us a little bit about how that is shaping your life right now. Like that's a space that's challenging in itself physically, but I know, as we know, like the physical always connects to the mental and the emotional. How is that shaping your life right now?
Yeah. So I'm on a 6-week cycle. So I do chemo for 5 days straight. And then I have the rest of the time off. And so it takes about 5 days afterwards to recover from my chemo. So it's about a 10-day block in a 6-week cycle that I feel awful. And then the rest, I'm just happy and I'm living life and I'm feeling good. And unfortunately, my cycle has kind of spread out so long that by the time my next chemo cycle rolls around, I'm feeling sad and kind of bummed because I've gotten a taste of what life would be like without cancer kind of thing. And I'm out living my life. And then it's like, oh, I have to deal with this again. And it gets frustrating. And because for some reason, my chemo cycle always seems to end up at the worst time when I want to really do something on the weekend. And unfortunately, we can shorten my cycle, but we can't lengthen it at all. So I plan on going to conference this year, and conference lands right in one of my chemo cycles. So I'm going to have to figure out how to finagle things around so that I can go to conference this year. But yeah, it's just that hit every 6 weeks that really brings down my mental state.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. And that itself is a mental challenge, just getting around, this 6 week cycle that is your life now
Yeah.
at some significant level. And, a lot of things are impacted by that. There's no question. Well, I hope you figure out the shortening of that cycle, because we definitely want to see you in Winnipeg for the conference in May.
We will for sure figure it out.
Yeah, we can't wait. And listen, going through that space of chemo and then recovery, which is like largely like probably exhaustion and getting all that poison out of your body.
Yeah.
But then the reality that you live with this compromised immune system, how do you make the choices between protecting yourself and managing the risk with living life to the fullest, as you've said?
Yeah. I wrote a blog about it a few weeks ago, so check that out on the Yak website. But it's, like you said, it's all about managing risk versus reward. So I know when there's sick people around me, or like in my little hobby group, if someone's sick, I avoid it because I don't want to get sick. It's a lot harder when you have no immune system. Even just a cold takes a lot out of you. But then if it's like a once in a lifetime experience, I don't want to pass that up. Like my girlfriend and I went to the teddy bear toss in Calgary, and a stadium full of 20,000 people. Probably not the best place to have gone when you have no immune system, but I really wanted to have that experience. And I did everything I could to keep myself safe. I used hand sanitizer and washed my hands a lot, and it all turned out fine. I didn't get sick from it. Another thing would have been the activist training. Flying on a plane, but prior to doing that, I had read that you're much more likely to get sick on a plane. So I got like a heavy duty hospital mask to wear for the whole flight. And there was the side of embarrassment of having to wear that and what other people are thinking about you. But I knew that I didn't want to get sick on that plane ride to feel sick when we were in Toronto. And so I wore it.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
And Blair, I know there's a lot of changes in our social spaces and our personal relationships when cancer comes. You're still connected to your parents. Like, how do you feel that part has changed over time? Because again, like me, I was 22 when I was originally diagnosed. I had just moved out, got sick, moved back home, recovered, moved out, got sick again, moved back home again. It took me 3 times before I got it right. It is one of those places where it's great to have your parents to lean on when you need them, even though, if we're being honest, likely neither of us would have chosen that to be back there. How has that relationship evolved over the course of your experience and your cancer diagnosis?
It's hard living with my parents at the age that I'm at. I see all my peers going off and they've got all their own places and their own lives, and I'm still at home kind of thing. And it's a bit of a downer, but my parents have gotten a lot more cognizant over my cancer treatment. Before I was kind of re-diagnosed after my bone marrow transplant, my mom especially was really pushing me to get back out into the world. And I think that was kind of just her way of having me looking like I'm feeling better kind of thing. And knowing that I'm feeling better is if I'm able to go back to university and all those kinds of things. But now they're not pushing me. They're happy that I'm out living the life that I am and that I'm getting out of the house, especially. And so they're doing really well. But luckily, I'm kind of at the point where I'm like talking with my girlfriend about moving out. She'll be moving into my family's house over the summer because my parents go away for the summer, and then come fall we'll be moving out on our own. And I'm really excited to do that and to take that point in my life, and that my health is well enough for me to be able to do that.
Yeah, and great that you got the support from your family, and extra special to have found a partner like you have who's around and obviously growing and living life with you. Like that is so great to hear.
Yeah.
If you think back to the summer when you came, it was like your first Yak thing, really. You came to the activist training.
Yep.
Like that was a unique experience for everybody who was there. For someone new to Yak like you, it would have been extra unique because you wouldn't have done yet a retreat or a conference. What stands out for you? Is there something that you kind of took away that was the most memorable thing we did at that training?
Yeah. Like I had only ever done local life stuff leading up to that. And I love our local life community, but I never got the full experience of a Canada-wide Yak kind of thing. And then going to Toronto and meeting all the other yak activists, and now knowing that I have friends and support all across Canada was just like the biggest impact on me. It's amazing knowing that I have such a large support network and that we're all there for each other. And just getting to meet all these people. The downtime was my favorite because we just got to hang out with each other, and I got to meet other people and learn other perspectives. And yeah, it was just amazing. I loved yak training, and I can't wait to go to retreat and conference this year. This year's the year of yak for me, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, we are pumped that it's the year of Blair for us. So we can't wait to have you at retreat and conference. And thank you for sharing your story here on the Cancer Hookup, but also through the blogs on the web and through the social channels. It makes a real difference for other survivors to hear stories of their peers. So thank you so much for connecting and hooking us up on the show here tonight.
No worries. Thanks, Geoff. This is my first big cancer hookup, so I can't wait to go.
Woo! Awesome. Thanks, Blair.
Thank you.
Okay, dude.